All right, so on the walk up here, contemplating a few notions. First and foremost was the thought exercise of being ferociously seductive, which has the weights balancing out the equation on either side as staying cool, but then also invoking a serious aspect towards things, wherein which the factor of your coolness is in relation to the serious nature or the ambiance, the atmosphere that surrounds you. Whereas, obviously, given the nature and characteristics of the individuals that are around your premises, too serious will actually invoke an autoimmune response in regards to the individuals around you either poking fun of the serious aspect or actually coming together towards forcing a solution towards your exhilarating activity, which is obviously over the top in regards to the belief systems of those around you. Whereas then you are seen as not cool. Now, obviously, like a computer, the components, if not kept cool, cease to work, cease to run. As in the welds which conduct the electrical current melt away, as in the connection between you and what supplies you with power. The electoral vote itself has demanded your excision from office through the heat and through the pushing it too far. Just pushing it too far, and your welds are done and over with. You're no longer well done. You're overdone. You've overdone it. Right? Now, the second thought that I was contemplating was in regards to acid and those coming out of acid. What is acid? It's an acid trip. I think that non-correlating geometric encounters, right, that actually themselves become a structure that these individuals stand upon. And then all else which ultimately doesn't follow this structure is seen as an inferior component, as dumb, or how should I put this, lesser or below those that use the ruler to create these designs and lines which, given the length of the ruler and obviously, the breadth of the vision of the one beholding the lines, themselves become sort of entranced within this state where things that actually form a living structure are collapsed into non-living components. Now, my counter thought to this was in how to attract somebody living in this state, this dead state, where there's non-lifeless matter around them, into a state of all matter being living. Obviously, if the ruler is continued to be on the forefront of their vision, then everything which passes through this filter is, going to reach them in a way in which it presents itself in the light of this, it's almost extremely non-harmonic, but how to entrance somebody from that state into the state of actually seeing living matter, where the coalescence of parts actually give rise to beings and organisms, and how to actually collapse a living structure or a body into multiple components of living organisms and structures. And if this thing is looking through the lines of the ruler, then ultimately I think that it would have to align with some form of logic or reasoning or direction that obviously, you know, the ruler itself is stating. And it would have to create some sort of attraction from where these things are coming from. And then ultimately, you know, lead them down this road where all of a sudden these lines, which were actually causing them to see dead matter, bring matter to life gradually through their transcendence and continued attraction into this realm of living matter, right? Now, ultimately, this whole thought can be collapsed into mergers or submersions, right? Where really there's lots of different ways to see all of this reality. And, you know, the merger of two entities pretty much is kind of this coalescence of attraction and obviously maintaining one's own sense of self, which is the past history. You know, definitely kind of some footnotes here. Has to do with a lot of the work that I did in regards to Virgil and the feeling that I had in which he was actually melding huge portions of the West and the East together, and also of, you know, what they believe to be their inheritance from the Greeks, and then merging them with their current philosophy and understanding and the characters that actually represented themselves best suited in where they were. So there's a little bit about that. And I was thinking about some other footnotes that possibly had some relation to these topics of dialogue. You know, right now I'm sitting up in a kind of a high place looking out some windows, the grand avenue of the campus before me. And things are just, you know, taking shape to create the drive and incentive for all of these people that ultimately they're just supporting their foes to give themselves the resistance that they desire to climb the mountain higher and higher and higher, whereas they don't know that they're actually becoming the envisioned organism that they themselves seek to cure, ironically enough. But you know, this has been a good thought expose. And you know, talking about the being ferociously seductive, I've definitely written many things which kind of connect many points in regards to that attitude or belief system. You know, keeping cool, but playing hardball. It's kind of like that hardball, you know, parable I was talking about, where you know, how hard a ball do you want to become? You know, you want to ball hard, whatever. That's being ferociously seductive. You know, being something that can be taken seriously, but ultimately acknowledging, right, the different aspects of life which are beyond being ferocious, you know, and then something sees you as a thing of beauty rather than just something which is taking it beyond where it needs to be taken. So, yeah, good thoughts, good stuff. It's all good stuff, though, you know, every day, every interaction. Really, this place here really is wanting to just push things, you know, and for it to be overcome, for this place to actually, you know, like continue on. It's having to just create a steeper and steeper face, which is ultimately just, you know, causing the valley that has to rise every time to just really be beyond measure, which ultimately within the face and, you know, its perspective on measurement can't be, because what can't be measured, you know, right? But that's kind of like the attitude that this place is actually having to invoke for like the unwanted attitude of it to be overcome, so that it can actually, you know, be on the bright side. And, you know, all of that's resting solely on the ability of those that are able to kind of overcome the situation and not carry it with them, you know, and transmute that that energy in that situation into something that, you know, gauging in the whole relativity of tomorrow and today, and you know, how long do we remain in the past, and when do we escape the present and find ourselves somewhere else, and do we let these things go, and, you know, do we sidestep them and appear where it is that we feel, you know, we should be, and ultimately, you know, appearing somewhere maybe that gets us past here, which can be difficult at times. So, man.